Alright guys, this is going to be a new podcast we're going to do. It's going to be kind of a talk show. This is going to be called Kreating Khaos Podcast. Going to have some people, just local folks come on here that are folks that we know, and just some family friends and some local guys that hunt, fish, and trap and do whatever. My name is Mason Norman. I am a guide for Arkansas County Guide Service. I am a ambassador and pro staff for many companies, Retail, Mossy Oak, Bragging Rights, Arkansas County Guide Service, Light Boots, many more. My day job is electrical, and me and my boys and stay in the woods as much as possible. I'm 28 years old and been married to my wife ever since we got out of school. My co-star here is going to be Bubba Smith, one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, like I said, I'm Brian Smith. Everybody calls me Bubba. I am a land manager for a private landowner of Garland County. Known this guy, I don't know, how old are you? 27?
Shoot.
27 years, yeah. We like to sit around and talk about hunting, fishing, different various things, and thought we might share that with everybody. And seemed like a fun thing to do. Like I say, it's going to be a lot of stuff said on here that some folks won't like, I'm sure. Some people will love it, but we're just going to talk about our kind of stuff, you know, how we grew up hunting, things that we did fishing, things that we did chasing varmints and stuff our whole life. And I think that there's an audience for it, people that are like-minded individuals like us that really enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to doing it.
We're a bunch of, I guess you'd call rednecks that grew up in the woods ever since we was old enough to walk, with our granddaddies pulling us through the woods and dads pulling us through the woods, and we're doing the same to our kids, and that's kind of like the like-minded stuff we wanted to talk about. Nobody really has anything going in Arkansas that's about a podcast about true blue Arkansas hunting and fishing and stuff like that. Probably one of the toughest states to do a lot of that in. We really ain't got a whole lot of good resources. We just make do with what we got. Some of the topics we're going to have is going to be somewhere along the lines of turkey season. We're going to go on with some decoys, favorite times of the day to go. We're going to go with our habitats and why our turkey numbers aren't right where they need to be, and some shot stuff with apexes and TSSs and how people think it's cheating. Some people were true to lead, some people were true to TSS. We're going to have topics on all that stuff. We're going to have topics on land management stuff, food plots, how to get better deer stuff during the winter, and also have your spring turkeys and your forages during the summer to keep them animals around. Deer season wise, we're going to have muzzleloading talks, center fire talks, the early season gun season we have here where you can use a muzzleloader or alternative gun. We're going to have talks about why our deer aren't as big in certain places and why some of them are, about land management and managing your deer the right way. We're going to talk about running dogs. His dad runs dogs. They run beagles and run rabbits all the time. We're going to talk about fishing, catfishing, crappie fishing. Pretty much you name it, we're going to talk about it. And we're going to touch some feelings, like he said, on some topics. And we would love to hear some comments back on why you like this and why you don't. We're just going to speak our mind and go with it. Like I said, we're just going to have a good time. Me and him sit at my mom's once a week, and we sit out on the porch and talk for an hour and a half, and we said, well shoot, why don't we just video this, because he's going to throw in some stuff every once in a while you're going to be laughing at. So we have a lot of stories and a lot of good stories to tell. He's known my wife since she came out the womb, so we're pretty much family. We ain't blood, but we're family. Sometimes friends are a little bit better than your blood kin. So, but man, pretty much other than that, that's the intro to what we're about to do. We can talk about some stuff tonight. Heck, that didn't took that long.
Yeah.
It didn't really take that long at all.
Yeah, it's
we was planning on it taking forever, and it really didn't. So,
if you can make it taste good, we hunt it.
Oh. Well, I can tell you what don't taste good. That's a darn duck. But you can probably make them taste pretty darn good. I see plenty of them, but them darn speckle bellies taste good.
You can eat them.
But he can cook and whoop up about anything you want. He has a place down on the river, and shoot, you pretty much live at the river half the time, don't you?
Every chance I get.
We all go down to Bubba's Lagoon during the summer every once in a while and take the kiddos and let them swim. It's a perfect little spot. And so, I don't know, but we've been wanting to do this for a while. It's been an idea of Bubba's, and chance presented itself. And so, I think we're going to do it. And like I said, we're going to have some other people come on, and we're going to sit in this room and talk about hunting and talk about fishing and whatnot. But turkey season's coming up upon us. You want to tell some turkey stories? We got a little bit of time.
Man, I tell you.
Let's do,
you tell me the best turkey hunting story you ever had with your grandpa.
Ooh, boy, that's a good one. There's a lot of them. You remember your first turkey?
I do remember my first turkey.
Let's do a first turkey. So, a lot of people can't talk about their first turkey because it's really hard for people to remember. But I was fortunate enough to kill 14 or 15 sitting in the tree right beside or right in between my grandpa's legs. And that's something that I will probably cherish until I'm gone, until he's gone. So, I have hunted the property. I still hunt today. Thankful to them guys. That family is an amazing family. I've hunted it and run it like it was my own since I was a kid. My grandpa and them took care of it. It was windy as heck. We go down there, and turkeys been gobbling their brains out. There's 10 or 12 turkeys down there, and me and my grandpa go down there, and he can't hear worth a darn. He's never been able to hear worth a darn, and he always took me, I think, for my ears. And we get down there, and I kind of knew but whereabouts where they was at. There's a bunch of old house places down there, and I know where they're all at and where they kind of roost. They still kind of roost at those places nowadays. They're still in the same spots. We go down there, get in the corner of the field. Wind's howling, storm's coming, and I hoot. I hear a turkey gobble. That boy said, I didn't hear nothing. I said, he's right there. He goes, no, he ain't. I said, let's get up a little more. I hoot again, he gobbles. I said, God dang, Papa's right there. He said, I can't hear him. I said, let's go in the woods. As soon as we got out of that wind, I went, ow! And he gobbled, that sucker, ow! He gobbled, 50 to 100 yards in the woods, and he goes, oh my God, we gotta sit down. I said, well, let's go over here around him. It's gonna pitch down and go straight to that darn road. He goes, I know it, we gotta go. And it was still dark. We get around, get over by the house place. He said, come over here and sit in my legs. I got him between his legs, and he had his gun with me, backing me up. And, cause he always has done that. And, I'll never forget that turkey, out of all turkeys I ever killed, was one of the only turkeys, which I had a lot of them pitched straight to me, not land in front of me. But I'll never forget this turkey. He just grabbed that lynch. I got one right here. And he did this right here. And he cut him off. And I said, holy cow. And I was telling him, I was like, call again, call again. He said, no, he's coming. That's what he always said. And all of a sudden I hear, and he landed right on the other side of a knoll. And he come up that knoll at 15 yards like this. Papa said, don't shoot him until he gets out of the strut. And I went, boom! And he starts flopping. Papa stands up, boom! Blows his damn tail feathers out. First turkey ever given, he blows his damn tail feathers out. But man, I won't never forget the excitement, hugging and crying. He was crying, I was hugging him. I ran over there, and I wasn't even hardly big enough to pick the turkey up. I picked him up, and he weighed so darn much. My grandpa carried him out, and oh my God, we showed the world. There was feathers everywhere, and I think he had a 10.5-inch beard and like 7/8 spur. He wasn't no giant, but for a first turkey, he's a good one.
Good 2-year-old bird, probably.
What's yours?
Well, when I first started hunting, of course, it's different, You're talking about 35 years ago, 40 years ago almost. But I'd killed some deer and stuff, but I hadn't really got to go turkey hunting with my grandpa, which he'd been gone a pretty good while now, but he tripped over the dog or something, hurt his foot. Anyway, so he said, "Come on, let's go." I think I was 13 or 14 years old before I ever even, and that was the first time I'd ever went turkey hunting, period. Like, I'd been to listen, or I'd seen them, we'd go look and listen, but I hadn't really hunkered down and got after it like that. And he had hurt his foot. And he said, "I'm going to go turkey hunting." He said, "Won't you come go with me in the morning and help me get around?" And I said, "Sure, no problem. I'll come help you." And we hunted Oklahoma then, down, south of here, probably, 30, 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Big bean fields, a lot of cropland and stuff, and there was a ton of turkeys down there. I mean, for what a ton of turkeys look like
Back in, yeah.
And so we run up this bar ditch on the side of it used to be a rice field, but they were growing soybeans in it. And we were slipping up this bar ditch, and there was 2 or 3 of them out in the far corner, probably 800 yards, easy. I mean, those bean fields are long. And he limped and sat down and limped, and we eased around the edge of there. And he had a old round snuff can with a piece of rubber glove pulled over the top, and had the lid cut out. Man, that thing was raspy and barely even sounded like a turkey.
That's some old school stuff too. That's
and
cool.
yeah, everything. He had a box call that his buddy made, and he had that, and that was it. And we eased around, finally worked our way around. Felt like it took forever. I'm sure it didn't probably take 30 minutes or so, but we'd set up opposite corner, probably 200 yards. And we're watching these two gobblers are blowed up out there in the corner, and they're just dancing. I mean, fans just back and forth, just typewritering out there. And he calls real light, reaches over, scratches some leaves with his hand. But we're watching these 2 birds, and this one, 80 yards probably, ow, just blows up.
So one y'all didn't know about?
No, we didn't even see it.
Yeah.
We seen these 2.
Yeah.
We didn't even know about this.
Yeah.
So when he's calling these are answering, this one's answering. And he's like, I'm gonna watch these 2, and you see if you can get around and point that way. And he said, if whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
He said, if it comes out before these do anything, shoot that one. He said, if that one don't show up before these get close, I'm gonna shoot that. And turned out, these just hung up. I mean, they were already, there's a couple of hens kind of in the woods you could see, and they had them cut down. He hit that box call, and that one come out 35, probably 35 yards. Hit the clearing, just went to blowing, drumming. I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah.
And he's drumming and spitting and carrying on. And Paul, he just putted on that box call, and when he did, he dropped. And when he dropped, I pulled the trigger, and he went to flopping. And I was flopping on the other end. I got him my grandpa had them 12 gauges, what they used to call a goose gun.
Oh God.
It had a 30-inch, I think it was a 30-inch barrel on it.
Single shot?
Single barrel, 12 gauge.
Oh.
And just a wood butt. I mean,
oh, dang.
They had a metal plate screwed to the end of it. I don't know. But at 13 years old, I wasn't much bigger than you. I wasn't bigger at all, probably. And I had my shoulder pinned up against that tree.
Oh,
and it felt like a train hit me. But I didn't notice at the time, I guess, And he jumped up and went to take off, but got his foot was messed up.
Oh, shoot.
and like to hit the ground. I had to catch him, so I go over and get the turkey, and it's man, probably like you 10 and a half, 11 minutes. Spurs might have been an inch long, but we carried it back, showed it to Mama. She was tickled to death. Just kind of, it's the part after.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's exciting. You get worked up.
Yeah.
Blood's pumping, your ears is red, and then all of a sudden it's over.
Well,
and then the showing.
Yeah, it's a showing.
And
that's what my boy's gonna be most excited about. He's asking about how many people did I get to show this year. I said, we'll take it to everybody. We'll take everybody.
Man, that's something I've always said. It doesn't matter if it's a squirrel hunt, if it's a rabbit hunt with dogs, if it's my boy, he's 20. I mean, but when he's like your boy size, he was there wide open. And chasing ducks in the bottoms and deer in the bottoms and just all that. And even when that's over, if you can find somebody to take, even if you, like me, I got a boy that does his own thing, and that's something that you'll see in your lifetime, is you'll watch them kind of learn from you and then move on and apply that.
And then learn more stuff.
Yeah, and it feels like, sometimes it'll feel like they don't need you anymore, and that's not,
it's not the case.
But until they need to drag one out.
Yeah. Well, the beauty about it too, though, is that you said one of the most important parts, and mine was the same as well, is we both got to enjoy that with our grandparents.
Yeah, with your grandparents.
And they're not here forever. And luckily mine still is. And that's stuff you can cherish for your whole life.
I've had a ton of hunts. I killed my first deer with my grandpa.
Isn't that awesome?
I killed my first turkey with my grandpa. I mean, and that's stuff
that hits home, don't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I still hunt with his old gun a lot of times,
That's cool.
I still have a 308 that he gave me when I was 9 or 10 years old. I still hunt with it. First time I go every year, I take it.
That's awesome.
I mean, I've got a ton of guns, but...
Well, there's something sentimental about that gun.
I mean, I try to kill my first one every year with that one.
Yeah, and that's badass.
It's... Yeah, take a kid, man. This stuff's dying.
It is.
Whether we want it to or not, it's dying off. There's so much happening, so much other things going on. And
TVs, games,
phones, and video games, and everybody's got a telephone, and I'm worried as bad about it as anybody.
Me too.
If I leave it at the house, I turn around and go back and get it.
Yeah.
And I used to not be that way.
The cool thing about it is we can tell our stories to it. That's probably one of the best parts about it, in my opinion. I mean, I like telling my stories to everybody, and I like showing them what I'm doing on a daily basis and hunting in the woods, taking my kids and all that stuff. I like showing people like that stuff. And
as far as hunting goes, like just for instance, game cameras. In the past 5 years, leaps and bounds. They're smaller. They're smaller. You can get pictures on a cell phone. You don't have to go down there and check cards. I mean,
it's wild.
And that's just one.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes scouting. You're not tracking scent in and out. It makes bow season leaps and bounds better.
It does.
Gives you more of an advantage, leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, used to, we all carried, these little handheld Yahtzee games and Uno games and stuff in our pocket, just something to do, or a book, or
And you didn't know what was out in the woods till you got there.
Right.
You
you never know.
And that's just like with turkeys nowadays. I run game cameras on everything. Deer, we run game cameras on everything. You know what's there, you know what they're doing, and you ain't even got to go in there. But back when I was a kid, even game cameras was retardedly, they were terrible. I mean, I had to go watch and listen to these turkeys to know where they were for me and my grandpa. I mean,
When me and your...
oh no. Hold on a minute. I can edit that out. Oh shoot, the storage is full anyway.
Yeah, we'll do something else next time.
I can edit that.
But when me and
That's good though. That's a good intro.
When me and Chris
That's still running.
first started bow hunting,
Yeah, that's still good. We'll get around to that. I needed that. Alright, go ahead.
when me and your daddy-in-law here first started bow hunting, climbing stands weighed a metric ton when you tried to tote them.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, it was the worst.
Like steel
I mean-
stands.
Right, they were steel.
Yeah.
They were expanded metal and square tubing.
Yeah.
And they were horrible. And your bow weighed about 40 pounds. I mean, I'm talking about old Browning 2x6 looking bows. Is what we started with. And just, I mean, that's the deal. Now they make them out of carbon fiber. You can't even tell you got a hold
No,
of
you can't
it.
even tell you got a hold of a boat. I mean, it's crazy.
And, I mean, I'm 45 years old. And just in the last 25 years, it's shifted. Everything's shifted in your favor.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I first started deer hunting, 7, 8-year-old, it's been 87, 89. You couldn't kill those for one. You could only kill 2 deer, and you might not do that.
Yeah.
You hardly ever even seen a deer
Yeah.
around here. I mean,
I'll shut that door.
catch a flash of them at night or something,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't see them. I mean, there just wasn't none to see.
No. No, I mean, and it's changed a lot now. Now you see the opposite sex. Now you see more does than you do bucks.
Oh, by a long way.
It's crazy. But
By
it's
long
because
way.
they
But-
get gunned down.
Well, and that's the deal. Nobody wants to kill those or around here.
It's too much
We
work.
hunt a lot of public. There's a lot of public land. I got a lot of buddies that hunt public land, but there's a lot of private land around here. And everybody wants to kill a buck. Nobody wants to kill a doe. And that's, you know, that's something I've always, if you got too many does, you won't have any bucks.
Mm-mm. Or you won't ever see them.
Yeah.
Those have just
They're
been
not
up.
going to compete for food. They'll go next door.
Yep.
And with, you know, that's something else, even like deer feeders. You know, if you fed deer, which back then you couldn't, but when you started to be able to feed them in Arkansas, it was a piece of pipe with a wire on the end.
Yeah.
You know, now
Got feeders that sling it everywhere.
it's got a solar
Timer.
panel,
Yeah.
it's got a battery, it's got a timer.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to run 6 seconds at 6:05 a.m. and 4:45 p.m. And as long as you keep cornering it
They're coming.
and don't run it too fast, you might have to go in with some of these bigger feeders. You might have to go in once a month,
Yeah.
put 120 pounds of corn in it. You're not leaving any scent.
No.
I mean, and if you time it just right, and you set that timer,
You can be there
I
whether or
mean,
not.
you used to have to load one of them heavy metal stands out there on your back, and then hang it on the bottom of a tree and climb up there with that ridiculously large bow and sit on the white oak tree, hope acorns was falling. I mean, that's just the way it was.
Yeah. And it
But-
definitely ain't that way now.
No. And that, you know, for people to say there's not a ton of big deer in Arkansas, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, there's a bunch of deer that get killed that don't show up at the big buck classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That gets tagged, well, I killed you know, you go online, you check your deer, They don't ask for beam length.
All they ask for is a point.
How many points it have?
Yep. It could be an 8 point and still be 100 inches.
Yes. I just
Or it could be
killed
180 at 60 inches,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well, and that's the deal. Like, I mean, I killed a almost 100-inch 6 point this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's just green. That's measuring it now. I mean, that's not an official
Yeah,
measurement.
a 6 point don't get 100 inches very
But
often.
you don't get 100-inch 6 point. And there was one killed right there beside me that was way up. I mean, way over 100.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen some monster deer come from around here just this year. But they're not. Are they Kansas class whitetail?
No.
You're just not going to get them.
No.
I mean, but you can kill a big buck deer.
You can.
I mean, that's easy. Not easy to do, but
You got to put a lot of time
if
into
you,
it.
I mean, you're talking about me. I see it. I mean, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
And I don't always kill them. I mean, there's been years I didn't kill a buck deer in the past 4 or 5. But I went ahead and killed some does because you got to.
Yeah, you do have to.
I mean,
especially like in the bottoms where you are at,
well,
it's hard to overrun with them.
There's so many.
There's a lot.
There was opening weekend muzzleload season. There was 3 days that I took off the Monday, but I hunted Saturday and Sunday and Monday, with the exception of maybe an hour. I'd go back to camp, eat me a sandwich, whatever, and then go back. It was 30. I think I saw 36 does on 3 different stands in 3 days, and I did not see a single buck deer, not a spike. Some of them might have been nubbing heads, moved across fast, but there wasn't nothing with a horn that long.
They don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to have to compete for that. They don't have to compete for that boot.
You know, those bottoms are where I've spent my whole life. I've killed hogs and deer and squirrels and rabbits and coyotes and dove and turkeys and everything down there. And even if it wasn't that great, I'd probably still hunt down there. But like, I'm in a position now where I see a ton of deer, a ton of turkeys. And I mean, it never gets old. That's the deal.
Yeah. Well, that's the best part about it.
Well, if you're eat
Because
up,
if it ever gets old, then you probably ought to quit it.
yeah, if you're eat up with it, it won't get old.
No.
And I think the more we talk about stuff,